Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Rest. In this video I want to go over an Anarchy Zane build that takes advantage of the Rough Rider. I know that's a pretty interesting combination, but I'm doing this because if you don't know, this is a series I run on my channel where I take your guys' suggestions and make them into builds. So for this one, the first comment we have from The Gaming Ideas, a very fitting name for this series, but it says, could you try an Anarchy Zane build? Haven't done a Zane community build yet, and it would be greatly appreciated. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much, The Gaming Ideas, and I'm definitely going to try to make this work. But then the next comment we have is the CT Foster 01. He says, yo Rest, I just subbed to the channel recently because watching your videos is like stumbling into a treasure trove of knowledge, incredible content, and I've taken a few ideas from my builds. Aw, thank you, man, that really means a lot. I want to dare you to make a build with a Rough Rider. It is one of my favorite styles on Borderlands 2, and I've never seen anyone even attempt to make a build for it in Borderlands 3, probably because it's not possible. Let's make some memes, bruh. So I'm taking those two comments. Obviously making an Anarchy Zane build is not going to be too difficult, but I'm going to have the challenge on having to use the Rough Rider. And honestly, with some of Zane's skills, you can make the Rough Rider work. And with things like the Anarchy, you're gonna essentially make this into a sniper rifle, which obviously, if you don't know, the gimmick of the Anarchy is that it's gonna have reduced accuracy but more damage the more you get kills and reload. So overall, this build is actually very good, and with the way things seem to be going, I would honestly say this build might be getting nerfed due to the gear we're going to be using in this build. So if you want to take advantage of this right now, definitely get in on it soon. But even if it does get nerfed, I still think this build will be very, very good. And also, if you'd like to be featured in a video, be sure to drop a comment, leave a suggestion, and you could be in the next one. But as always, these builds are in my Discord channel if you'd like to download them. The link to the Discord will be in the description. If you download the build, enjoy the video, find it helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It's free, it really helps me out, and I truly appreciate it. But with all that, let's jump right into this crazy build. Alright, so starting off with gear, we're going to have 3 Anarchies right here on top of the Rough Rider shield, like we were just talking about. I'm going to have all 3 main elements on the Anarchy. And on top of that, they all have the same annoying. While axe skill is active, the weapon damage increased by 200%. These are also all times 20 variants, which give you the most damage. And again, if you don't know the way the Anarchy works, when you get a kill or your gun is automatically reloaded, you get 30% more damage and reduced accuracy. So the Rough Rider, if you don't know the way this works, you're going to have 0 shields, but essentially you can become more tanky. But you get 23% reduced damage and you get 35% more max health. And on this one, I have on axe gun, you get 50% bonus radiation damage. Then for the grenade, I have an 8's piss. Now you won't be able to actually throw your grenade, but we're going to be running the Sentinel drone right here, so it can actually throw a grenade for you. This is just going to essentially apply 20% debuff to whatever enemy it hits. And I have on axe gun to get 50% bonus crowd damage. So between radiation and cryo right here, this is just going to complement the other 3 main elements up here. And the way you're going to use these is if you're going into an area that has a bunch of shields, you use the shock. A bunch of flesh, you use the incendiary. A bunch of armor, you use corrosion, because you're never going to want to switch these weapons, because if you do, you're going to lose the stacks. And if you lose the stacks, you're going to be losing a lot of your damage. So just be knowledgeable of the area you're going into and just make sure you have the right one equipped, because you're hopefully never going to have to take it off. But then for the class mod, we have the Spy. This is where the part of the build could possibly getting nerfed. We have plus 4 points commitment, which this skill could be getting changed, because this skill is just insanely strong. And if it does get changed, this build will still be very good, I personally believe, but it just won't be as absurd as it is right now. But if you don't know what the Spy does, whenever Zane uses the last charge in his Mantis cannon, he activates all of his kill skills, and Zane kill skills gain 10% effectiveness and an 8-second duration. So this is just making your kill skills stack up an insane amount, because if you don't know, commitment stacks up forever, and that's probably the part where it will get changed if they do decide to nerf it. But this is giving you more splash damage, weapon damage, and shotgun damage. If you don't know, the Anarchy actually does do splash damage, then obviously weapon damage and shotgun damage is going to buff the Anarchy, so you're just getting a lot of damage. And for this, I was just going pure damage, since the Anarchy is all about damage and nothing other super gimmicky other than the Rough Rider right here. But then pearl enough of knowledge, speaking of damage, if you don't know, this is going to give you a stacking damage bonus. So essentially, the more you shoot, you're going to get more damage. Since this is shooting 20 pellets, you're going to pretty much have this max at all times, and you're going to be getting a nice 105% damage increase. This is also giving you more max health and more fire rate, which is very, very good for this build, because we need as much health as we can since we're wearing the Rough Rider. Now, since we are just using shotguns, I have a cut burst launch pad right here. So if you ever need to pop this on, just slam the ground and you're going to get instant max ammo for all your Anarchies. Now getting over to the skills, we have points in every single skill tree, but the Professional right here is the one I'm going to start in, because this is the one that kind of helps the Anarchy out. So we have Mana Focus. Activating axe skill grants a Zane increased accuracy and handling for a short time. This affects stacks. So 29% accuracy and 28.6% handling per stack, and it can go up to 10 times, and we're gonna always have this at times 10. So all the negative accuracy you normally get for the Anarchy is no negative accuracy at all. If you actually look here with the Anarchy having some stacks and this only being at like times 7 right now, as you see, the accuracy on it is still very, very small, and normally it's huge. So you're going to be able to just snipe with Anarchy with having max rush stacks, which is just crazy, because literally it's taking the negative side of it and make it not even a factor. In this case, it's getting better, so the gun's just going to perform twice of what it normally could. But as I was talking about commitment, if you don't know what the skill actually does, this is a kill skill. Whenever Zane gets a kill, he's going to get increased gun damage and axe skill cooldown rate, 54% for each, since we have plus 4 points in this, and can stack infinitely. So you're going to get just dumb amounts of gun damage. This skill lets pretty much any gun in the game perform super well, and since the Anarchy already has a damage bonus stack to it, this is just adding on top of that, so you're going to have damage coming out from everywhere. But then to help out with some accuracy, I have tunnel vision, so while moving, Zane gains increased accuracy and handling. The quicker Zane moves, the greater the bonus. So you get 30% more accuracy and 33% more handling when you're just moving around. So this is actually really, really good as well, because it's making the Anarchy even more accurate and just an absolute laser beam. Then I actually have 1 point in Iron Man Flint thanks to our class mod. Now you don't have to actually have a point in this to get the effect. So just having the 1 point is actually giving you the 25% bonus damage when you aim down sight. Plus it's going to automatically apply whatever element your gun is. So whenever you're fighting a boss, just aim it on sight, you're going to immediately apply the status effect, which is a little bit of extra damage, which is nice. But now getting over to Hitman, this is the other main skill tree. This is his kill skill tree I was talking about. We're going to have 5 points of violent speed, so we get 30% movement speed whenever we get a kill. Again, you're always going to have this up at all times thanks to our class mod. Then we have 5 points of momentum, so the faster we move, the more damage we get. So now when we move fast, we get accuracy, handling, and damage. Then 5 points of cool hands, so whenever we kill an enemy, we get more reload speed, plus just an additional reload speed bonus. This is really good for stacking Anarchy stacks. You're going to just be able to reload the gun super quick, which is really, really nice. Then 1 point in drone delivery, as I was talking about, the drone can deliver a grenade out and apply debuff to an enemy. 2 points in salvation, so we get lifesteal. This is a kill skill, and you're going to get 6% of your damage dealt back as life. Since we're going to be doing the same amount of damage, you're pretty much going to always be healing the max with one shot of Anarchy, which is really good because since you're taking damage, since you're always taking health damage because of the Rough Rider, you're going to always heal that health back to max. But then 1 point in seeing red, so whenever we activate axe skill, we get all our kill skill bonuses. You don't have to take this. I kind of just like taking it just for the ease of use. So whenever you use the last cannon, you'll get an additional stack, but this is just always going to make your other things stack all the time, constantly. Plus you're going to have a 15% kill skill bonus as well. So basically all these other skills we're taking is just getting buffed by 15%, which is really nice. But then 5 points in violent. So again, whenever we kill an enemy, we get 23% more fire rate. We're going to constantly be stacking this up. Makes the Anarchy get stacks even faster between the fire rate and low speed. You can just start spamming away and you're going to have max stacks pretty much immediately. But then I have 2 points of good misfortune because I had some points left over and I'm trying to get to the bottom. This is just going to make it whenever you kill an enemy, your axe skill duration is returned. This is up to 12% max duration. Now you're always going to be having this up between C and red and our class mod, since we're going to be using the Mantis cannon. So you're going to keep shooting and you're always going to have your drone up constantly. But then 1 point in deathfall is close. This is going to give you a 25% kill skill bonus, and all your kill skill durations increase by 7 seconds. So it makes literally everything I just said even better, and this build is just ridiculous. Now, if we're actually talking about axe skills we're using, we're obviously going to be using Mantis cannon and the drone, but I have a cold shoulder and brain drain on. For the Mantis cannon, this isn't really anything special. This is actually giving you a plus 20% freeze rate, which is going to be good for our drone. But you're not really ever going to be shooting enemies. But with brain drain, you can shoot enemies if you want to. So 2 charges instantly return if you score a critical hit with the Mantis cannon. But then for the drone, we have Winter's drone, so your drone can actually freeze enemies. It's shooting people, it's going to freeze them. You're going to be dropping debuff grenades on them, which is nice. Then on top of that, I have bad dose, so essentially this is going to give you more fire rate, movement speed, giving you nice buffs, and the drone is just essentially debuffing enemies, which is helping you out as well. But that is for those skill trees. Now getting to double agent, I have 5 points in synchronicity right here. This is going to give you a 20% damage bonus based on how many axe skills you have active. You're going to always have a 20% damage bonus because you're always going to have the drone active at all times. The Mantis cannon does not work for this, but since the drone's always active, a 20% damage bonus is always nice. Then I have 5 points of Donnybrook, so this is another kill skill. Whenever you kill an enemy, you get more gun damage and health regeneration. So health regeneration is going to be very, very nice since we have no shields at all. If you don't want to take that, since salvation pretty much is going to heal you to max all the time, but I like taking this just because it fits into the theme of the build, and it does help out in areas where you're not fighting enemies. You're going to have health regeneration, which is nice. But then in the last skill tree, I have 5 points of adrenaline right here. I just had to throw these somewhere. Literally none of these skills up here matter whatsoever. This is all based on your shield, and we're not going to have a shield, so you know these are worthless, but I was using that to get to right here. So rise to the occasion. Zane gains health generation lower his shield is, the higher the bonus. This is giving you a nice health generation on top of Donnybrook right here, and since this is the Rough Rider, we're going to have 0 shield, so we're always going to have the max bonus this health generation, which is 5% of max health. So this is just, again, a nice survivability skill. But then another survivability skill is stiff upper lip. So whenever Zane is damaged, he gains damage resistance against that damage type. So since we're just having our health bar, you know, just flesh, if you take incendiary damage, this is going to negate 16% of incendiary damage, which is nice, and it will help out survivability a little bit. And honestly, with the survivability of this build, with the amount of health generation you have and lifesteal that you have, you really don't ever die. And I'm gonna be real with you, the most I've ever died while playing this build is literally me killing myself with the Anarchy, because when you reload, it's the variant where you can shoot the Anarchy to blow it up. So I have shot it multiple times with something like the Mantis Cannon as I was reloading, so just be wary of that. But once you understand that and become fluent with it, you won't ever really die to that, and you really never ever are gonna die to ads, just with all the health generation and lifesteal that you have, plus the damage reduction from the Rough Rider. Alright, so that's going to do it for the Anarchy Rough Rider Zane build. Like I was saying at the beginning of the video, this is a series driven by you guys, so if you have any suggestions, be sure to leave them in the comments. I try to read every single one of them, so just know you do have a chance to be featured in a video. Also, as I was saying, this build possibly might be getting nerfed, since Gearbox seems to be nerfing Vault Hunters with the upcoming raid boss launch, because they don't want the raid boss to just be instantly melted. And with somebody like Zane, this is going to absolutely be the character that's just going to one-shot the boss, or maybe even most, because Zane plus commitment is just ridiculous. But if you do want to play a build that's all about stacking damage between your skills, your weapon, your artifacts, your class mod, everything, this is 100% the build for you, and I would highly recommend trying it out. But that's going to do it all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.